because what you, the unsung heroes in the wastewater industry, do matters. Every Wednesday, join me, Suzanne Chin Taylor, the DooDoo Diva, a longtime veteran of the wastewater, trenchless, and civil infrastructure industry, as I interview guests who are making an impact on how we manage and operate systems for conveying and treating wastewater. I'll also be speaking with representatives of organizations that are utilizing disruptive or new technologies, and executives who are going to share how to be successful and sustainable in our vital industry. So whether you want to learn about the latest trends in technology in treatment or trenchless, gain tips on training and retaining great talent, or simply how to be more efficient, productive, or profitable, this podcast is for you. Well, hi, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of the DooDoo Diva Smells Like Money podcast. Today, we're going to be visiting with Vivek Agrawal, the CFO of Enbiorganic Technologies. Vic is a relative newcomer to our industry and decided he wanted to jump in to make a difference because that's what we do in our industry. And before that, the reason why I really wanted him to be with us today to talk about the topic is because of his long-standing experience in the financial industry before entering the wastewater industry. So with that said, welcome, Vic, and thank you for being willing to come on the show and talk to me today.
Well, thank you for having me on your show, and very excited to talk about the new industry that I've come into and the exciting things the change that's happening and the exciting things that we're working on.
That's great. So what we're going to be focusing on today is a phrase that was coined by a sustainability advocate. I'm going to look at my notes here. His name was John Elkington. And this was back in the 90s, and it was the triple bottom line. And of late, this term is starting to get a little bit of mainstream attention. And so as a former financial executive, I really kind of wanted to get your take on it, what it means to you, why you think it's important, and how you think our industry could implement this and embrace this.
Thanks for the question. I really appreciate that. So as you pointed out, the concept of the triple bottom line has been around for several decades and has just recently come into the mainstream and recognized by companies as a potential model for the future. So when I think about when this concept was first introduced, it was way ahead of where I think many companies are today, Suzanne, and before I think many companies were ready to even embrace it. And the triple bottom line, as you pointed out, at its core, is a relatively simple concept of a company's focus on three components: people, the planet, and profits. Thus, when a company focuses on delivering results for the people and the planet, the notion of profitability will follow. So in my view, I think this concept should be incorporated into companies across many industries and geographies, not just wastewater. I think this is something that's bigger than just our industry. As we're seeing today, many companies have a keen focus on ESG and sustainability in the planet. You know, I think larger companies will take longer to reach some of these goals, whereas emerging companies such as ourselves, this concept is sort of the driver of our business model. So I believe this concept is also important because being solely focused on profitability, in my mind, misses the potential for what I think is important in regard to profit optimization. So for example of that, if you take, outside of our industry, a consumer goods company, when those companies, so let's say, focuses on the people and the planet, it may attract customers who purchase their goods and services, which could lead to potentially higher levels of profitability and market share. So not to mention many of these benefits as being viewed as a conscious company, right, per se, but when I look at the wastewater industry in particular, or ours, one which very much closely is aligned with the impacts of the planet, I believe the concept is still at its early in its infancy. because as a focus has always been remained and centered around, shall I say, building larger plants, using more equipment, usually more mechanical solutions. In regard to embracing and implementing, as you know, this will have to come from the top of each company, right? And it has to be a mindset, a focus. From there, for each company, we'll need to think about what offerings that they have from services and products and what enhancements or changes can be made.
Great answer, because you brought out about sustainability. You're seeing sometimes where, I guess it's a buzzword now, that they're actually appointing a sustainability officer, like the chief sustainability officer. It's like a new position, like the CFO. So it's the CSO, chief. Okay, what the heck is that? But that they're actually putting together long-range sustainability plans, almost like a business plan or a marketing plan for these companies. So, I think that we are headed in the right direction. And so with that said, in your mind, coming from this, if an organization wanted to make that shift to that triple bottom line model or mindset and how it's going to operate, it's going to require a major change within the organization. A lot of things, it's going to be a lot of shifts. It's going to shake people up. And so how would you advise a company who is looking to do this start to make those plans? They can't just, say, oh, wake up one morning, we're going to start doing triple bottom line. That's how we're going to run our business. They can't just like jump right in and start tomorrow and do that. Absolutely. And so I guess what I'd like to know is they're going to have some planning and some strategy. And so what do you see or you can recommend as some of those key foundational things that they need to do if this is the direction that they want to take?
Yeah, that's a great question. And so when I think about making a business model shift to the triple bottom line, like that's very commendable. And I think things that all companies should consider and spend the time doing analysis on. As you know, as I mentioned before, it's a mindset which has to start at the top of the organization. And I would say that many companies have started this discussion, which is a good step forward. Right, this has been going on for better part of the last 10 to 15 years. But just to focus on such a shift, while a step in a direction, there are foundational pieces to consider, in my opinion. In evaluation of a current company's products and offerings and services to see how those can be enhanced, to be more closely aligned with or shall I say more planet friendly in relation to demand of their end users, who are demanding that companies provide more eco-friendly products and solutions. So can a company make wholesale changes in these offerings? Some will, but others will, I think, will make a more incremental approach or slight shifts towards that. Potentially a deeper look into competitors, and I think that will be helpful for companies to evaluate their offerings relative to the ones that the company's looking to bring to market or has in market. Has a competition already made this shift? Are they going to be playing catch up? Are they going to be leaders in the sector? And I think all these types of things are the ones that have to be thought through as companies are looking to make this shift, or at least incorporating parts of these pieces.
Rolling it out over a reasonable period of time.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So who would typically be doing this kind of research or this type of planning? Like who's best equipped to, if they really want to make the shift, should they hire an outside consultant? Or is this something that's going to be better managed by in-house talent that really knows the company inside and out?
Yeah, I think that could be both. Right.
Okay.
I think there is an element of outside advice, experts that know how to help companies with the transformation, and the larger companies that, as you know, have vast expertise internally, or as you pointed out, a new chief sustainability officer and a whole team that focuses on product research, market analysis. They get feedback in their marketing departments from end users. So, I think it's a little bit of both, depending on what particular sector each company's in.
Right, whether they're a service company. Do you see this as something that not just manufacturers, but do you see this as something that wastewater treatment plants and contractors, even service contractors, or any type of contractor service-based firm can utilize? Or is it harder for them versus a manufacturing entity?
Let me bring it to wastewater. Let me think about this
Okay.
way. I said, when I think about our industry in the wastewater, right, there's focus on mechanical equipment, build bigger plants, that have to deal with the current issues of population growth, infrastructure age, and capacity. That's not clear the industry as a whole will be able to make this effective change, right? I mean, that doesn't mean that the companies failed or not moving forward. I think, frankly, focus on green initiatives are critical, but not every company's positioned to be able to do that. Whether it's a product company or a service company, right? It depends on what the end user is going to want, right? Certain products companies can put wrappers that are more green, or change some of the manufacturing techniques or some of the materials that they use, right? Services companies, depending on what type of service, maybe you use different tools or different service offerings that are more green initiatives, right? So I think it's incremental change for each one of these two industries. I'm not sure. I wouldn't say that one is. I don't think there's any absolutes that a product company can be more successful than a services company. At the end of the day, some of the segments there, or some of the different areas that you're talking about, can make incremental changes. I think it really has to come from newer, innovative companies that have natural solutions, who are structured to be sort of more closely aligned with the notion and the concept of triple bottom line, and also being nimble, right, and innovative, which I think are key to the subsector shift, whether it's product or services.
That's a good word, nimble. I like that. Just, being willing to shift, not being married to one notion that if it doesn't work, then it's time to make a change and make a change for the better. I just keep thinking of Kermit the Frog. It's not easy being green.
I like that one. That's a good one.
Yeah. So beyond, obviously, the benefits, if you adopt a triple bottom line to, people and the planet, what do you see happening on the profit part of it, which businesses, of course, are going to be very interested in, on that financial bottom line? What do you think the benefits are there for them?
Yeah, so in my mind, if a company's structurally oriented towards the triple bottom line, there can be substantial impact as customers who seek these solutions from providers may be more apt to be loyal longer-term customers, right? And so in turn, from a financial standpoint, it would reduce customer acquisition costs, for example. And it would also increase their what we refer to as customer lifetime value, right? So we do analysis on what it costs for me to gain a new customer, and if they stay with me for longer periods of time, their lifetime value is much greater. So I think those things are important. If a planet and people first strategy is able to produce material reductions in costs or provide improvements for the end user customer, then there can be material upside to the company's bottom line. Or as you know, this will allow a company to promote their use of green provider goods or services, which can have a ripple effect on growth of their own products and services in the marketplace.
So your firm, Enbiorganic Technologies, has very much decided how it's going to show up in the world, being based on the triple, bottom line. What made you decide to go that route, and what steps as a company did you have to take in order to make that happen?
Yeah, well, I'm glad you asked about us. I really appreciate that, Suzanne. So, the triple bottom line is essentially part and parcel, not only, I would say, not only with our company, but the philosophy of our company, right? Embracing natural soil microbiology and utilizing new technology for delivery of that microbiology has allowed us to show tremendous benefits for the planet, the people within the communities that we're providing our services to, and along with what we expect to be essentially healthy returns for our shareholders. And most companies think of business and business practices, I would say, in a linear fashion, whereas microbiology works exponentially at a rate, or at a rapid pace, shall I say, unmatched by any current mechanical or chemical solutions, bringing it back to us in our industry. We chose to go that route given the efficiency that we believe microbiology brings to the areas we focus on. And the challenges has been able to bring that, or the capabilities and the capabilities of microbiology from the lab into the field. That's been the challenge of this industry in a cost-effective manner that's continuous. These are hard problems that we've solved and we're delivering to our clients. We've seen incredible results, and in our deployments, and essentially we're blazing a new trail with what we're doing with our work based on deep science and the historical work of our CTO. Now, I'll give you an example in regard to results for us, at least, and why, how that focuses on triple bottom line. We recently went into the city of Jal, New Mexico. And within a short period of time, 30 days of us coming in, the wastewater treatment plant, displayed effluent quality that was equal or as good as an activated sludge mechanical plant in the United States. And they were way out of regulatory compliance. And within 6 weeks, they were within the regulatory compliance. They saw a material reduction of years of sludge accumulation within their lagoons. Right? The taxpayers of the city potentially are going to save $20 million from building a new plant. Right? There was no capex. The cities or the wastewater treatment plant, over time they'll see operating cost reductions. We eliminated their odors. We had reductions in fats, oil, and greases. Right? The list goes on and on. We improved the ability to handle, more expansion of the town, right? Harmful pathogens. Only microbiology can achieve these results. It's just a short period of time. So that's a planet first focus, which has benefited the people of the city of Jal. And as we deliver that service, it will be profitable to our shareholders.
That brings about, just thinking, you yourself adopted a triple bottom line mindset and way that you wanted to operate your business. And it crossed my mind that because of what you've done, that now you're actually, without them realizing it, setting your customer on a path of their own triple bottom line through the use of this technology, whether they were looking to do that or not.
That is true.
If you think about that there was a hidden benefit for them, that now they're kind of, they're extending what you already started. So it becomes kind of like a domino effect, passing it down. I think that's kind of cool.
It's one of the things that brought me to this industry. It got me out of the financial world and brought me here because I saw the benefits we bring to the world and the planet and the people, and what I think we can make an interesting business and company for our shareholders.
Oh, I do too. I think what you're doing is absolutely fantastic. It's definitely, on that list of what, or falls into that category of what you'd call disruptive. Now, some people think of the word disruptive as being negative, but in this case, disruptive is extremely positive. And so I would just like to close with, what would your pearls of wisdom be to your fellow wastewater industry peers, because you're now part of the family of our great industry that I love, that, it's just, I can't say enough about it. Came in in 6 months, I fell in love, and I knew there was no place else where I wanted to be. And I think a lot of it has to do with, it's not so much what we do, but it's the people that are in this industry. You will not find any greater group of people to work with than people that do this vital, very, unrecognized and unappreciated work on a day-to-day basis. And so I'd just like you to share, because I think it is important for people to take this approach into consideration and making the shift. And just like you have, you started out that way, you didn't shift from one model to another. But again, what would your pearls of wisdom be as why everybody should give this serious consideration to either start out this way if they're going to be a new startup company, or make that shift?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I've been here for a short period of time in this industry. I think your passion for the industry has now shifted over to me over the past year and a half, because when we go into a plant and I see the excitement of the workers and the people at the plant, and when they see the results of what we produce, they're very excited. They're very passionate. They usually say, I could not believe this was possible, or the water you could pretty much drink. The notion of there was no solution for them until this came along, or until we, I don't know if it came along, but sort of till we brought it to them, that's exciting because it's so much needed. So, as you know, there's been a slow but growing shift over the past decades in a focus on green initiatives from Wall Street to Main Street, right? From my old world to my new world. And we see it all around us, right? And with our company is built on a premise of the triple bottom line. As I mentioned earlier, small incremental shifts are very, very important. End users are looking to buy from and partner with companies who follow such an approach, or at a minimum, at least strive to do so, right? Or are thinking about it, adopting it. Our industry has been slow to adopt, given its conservative nature, as you know. And emerging technologies are always coming, that are, to your point, truly disruptive. You could probably, I view Enbiorganic as such, and truly change an industry. But that being said, it's crucial to evolve as the market demands evolve, as your end user customers evolve, right? And so when ratepayers want greener solutions all around, then our industry should consider that as well. And I do believe that people can adopt, or at least make the effort to do so in this industry, which will benefit everyone in the long run, whether it be the planet, the people, and themselves as companies and corporations as they deliver products and solutions to their clients.
So Vic, thank you for sharing your time and your expertise and your thought on this. I think it's a very important subject that the industry really needs to sit back and to chew on, so to speak, and think about ways to start moving in this direction. And yeah, for those of you who have been tuning in and are now intrigued by this disruptive technology that we've been kind of skirting around and teasing you with and talking about it, you can learn more about Vic's company, Enbiorganic Technologies, by visiting them on the web at enbiorganic.com, Enbiorganic Technologies. They have a toll-free number, and I would recommend explore, because there are so many new technologies that are becoming available to us that just because we've always done it one way does not mean that that is still the best way to do it. So stay open-minded, just like with this new concept we were talking today, and also for new trends in technology. And so thank you for listening. And I look forward to seeing you next time on another episode of the DooDoo Diva Smells Like Money podcast. And until then, keep it flowing. Thanks for joining me, the DooDoo Diva, on this week's episode of Smells Like Money. Be sure to subscribe to the show so you'll never miss an episode. And while you're at it, if you found value in this show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes, or simply tell a friend about the show, because that would help us out a lot too. If you're an industry expert and would like to be considered as a guest for the show, email guest@smellslikemoneymedia.com. Tell us a little bit about yourself and the topics you'd like to talk about, and we'll be in touch. For more information about our family of marketing, international business development, and workforce training companies dedicated to the empowerment and education of our industry, call us at 760-217-8010 or email me at raven@creativeraven.com. Until next week, a big shout out to all my industry friends and those who will be. You're my superheroes.